I turned 50 last year, and it's the first time ever as I turned 50 that I was like, I'm not quite sure how I feel about this age situation. And then menopause hit, perimenopause hit, shall I say. Not menopause yet, perimenopause hit. And suddenly I was experiencing body changes that I have never experienced in my life before. One day I felt fantastic, and the next day I felt like I was a beached whale and so bloated I looked like I was 4 months pregnant. That's how it felt to me. Now, you may look at me and go, "Oh, Tracy, what are you talking about? That's so silly." But it's all relative. It's relative to what it is like for you and how you feel. Okay. So for me, it felt massive for me. It really, really felt massive for me. What made it far worse and far more dramatic was that I was having to navigate being on national television with 7 different cameras in front of me. And that was a super big challenge because it was focusing on my stomach because I was represent representing a bag company and I was demonstrating a bag. And so I saw myself from all different weird angles. And let me just tell you, girlfriends, camera angles really do count. They really do. But the wonderful thing about this is there's always a good thing that comes out of the challenges, right? The wonderful thing is I got to try out for myself as a designer and as a stylist and as a woman going through these challenges what was working for me, what wasn't, and why. And it adjusted and adapted my design style. And really, I deep dove into like, well, what does it look like if you need to wear solid color clothing? Or maybe you don't like wearing prints, which in the case of my situation, I did have to wear solid color clothing, and I love prints. And I love prints, I'll explain later, because they disguise. But I wasn't allowed to wear prints because the prints would clash with bags. So I had to work a couple of things out. So tonight, I'm going to share with you some top ideas. I'm going to share with you some skirt ideas. I'm going to share with you some other little layering pieces that are going to help you. And we're going to talk about the difference between a solid color and a print, why those two are different, why the results are so different of them, and then how you can get around if you do need to, like I had to, wear solid colors, how you can do it and you can do it in style. All right, so girlfriends, let me know in the comments if you are here. It'll be so wonderful to know that you're here. Also, if you are not yet a subscriber, please subscribe. I realize so many of the women that watch my channel actually are not subscribers, and I'm like, just subscribe, please. It actually does help. It might be a bit of a vanity metric, but believe it or not, it actually does help. And then just like this video. So it just tells YouTube like, hey, I'm here and I'm watching. All right. So girlfriends, this is a new top. I'm very excited to show you. This is brand new and I'm going to come up close to the camera so that you can see it. It is a knitted top. It's got some nice shimmer on it. And then it's got these cut out really funky pieces. But the thing about this top, and I was very careful with how I designed this top, because if I had made it in a very fitted fabric, in a very fitted style, although the cutout pieces are there and they're great, I felt like it was going to be a little clingy just because of the way the fabric is. And so what I did is I made a peplum style. Now, this is actually 2 tops, by the way. This is underneath, okay? So the sleeves are of this. So it almost works a little bit like a jacket, but not a jacket top kind of thing. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So the peplum style is a really, really great style for women who are wanting to disguise the tummy, because this emphasizes the waist here a little bit, okay? And then it flares over the tummy area and it ends at the right place. What you want to be careful of with peplums is sometimes they land a little too low, and that's going to sit across your hips and make you look wider. So you don't want that. You do want it to sit above your widest part of your hip, and that's going to create that very cool look. What also is very important when you're looking at how to disguise your tummy is to not just focus on your tummy. And I know that is very counterintuitive and it often feels really challenging because we tend to, when we look in the mirror, and I am guilty of this, girlfriends, I'm guilty of it when I see myself on camera, I'm guilty of it when I look in the mirror at the moment. I really get it. But one of the things that we need to realize is that everybody else sees us as a whole. So, there are a couple of things that you need to bear in mind when you are wearing your tops. Now, if you have got peplums in your closet, fantastic, go and get them out and you want to start wearing them. I know they were in fashion a while back, they've come back in fashion. I haven't seen a huge amount of them in stores, but sometimes we've kept things and they still work for us. This is also another thing. As you are navigating body changes, when you find things that work for you, just go ahead and get a couple of them because you want to build your wardrobe of things that make you look and feel fabulous. And you know that you can just put them on and you're going to look good. Okay, that's very important. You really need that. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you a couple of the things with wearing this because this is a great top and it disguises the belly. But, and I've seen this with my clients time and time again, especially when I've done solid color ones, underneath where the waistband sits, girlfriend, is very, very important. I mean, like super important. If I have this too low, and I'm actually just going to do it. By the way, I was sick with flu and I have lost some weight. One nice thing about being sick with flu for like a week, I have lost some weight. So I am feeling a lot less, and I was working out before. So I'm not feeling so tummy now, but I promise you that I was a few weeks ago. And, it's an ongoing process. Okay. So just that little bit of a disclosure. Okay. So if I'm wearing my pants too low, so if I'm going with something that like we used to wear, the hipster pant and that type of thing, what's going to happen is that if it's at the wrong point, it's actually going to push up and out of your belly and it's going to almost create a roll. Okay. And then when you're putting your top on over it, it actually then is going to show that. I don't know if you can see that online. Yeah, this is a good top, I have to just say. The reason why this works is because it has got all these pieces here and it is doing the disguising work. But let me say to you that, especially if you're wearing a solid color, underneath is going to be super important. I actually feel it's important all the time. I don't feel like you should ever not worry about where your waistband is. So what you want is a waistband that is going to kind of hold you in, a pair of jeans or pants that is going to give you that hold. So I'm just going to come up here. Now that is going to vary according to you and your body shape. And of course, it's going to vary according to the style of jean that you wear, the size of jeans that you're wearing, the brand of jeans that you're wearing, your rise, your like this is going to depend on where this sits on you. I have a long body, so often what happens is that a mid-rise that will maybe sit over here for some people sits a little low for me. But for me, one of the things I really like is just to kind of go below my belly button or even on it. And I find that gives me a really nice hold. You also get these jeans these days, ladies, that have got the sucky any thingy on the inside. It's what I call the sucky any thingy. It's like wearing it's like wearing those Spanx, but you don't have to wear them, and it doesn't feel uncomfortable at all. You can put them on, and you don't even know they're there, but they do help to pull in. So there are brands of jeans that help with that, and I highly recommend getting that because that's going to make a big difference to how you feel. All right, so where that waistband sits is very important. You also want it to be secure. You don't want it to be falling down and creating that kind of what we call the muffin top effect. And you also don't want it to be so tight that it creates that muffin top effect. So my recommendation is that you get jeans that have got a little bit of stretch in them. It's going to make them a lot more comfortable. It's going to make this situation a lot easier. So you want enough hold, but not too much. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now, the other thing that you want to look at is your look creating a sense of balance? That's very important. If it is not creating a sense of balance, then it's not a good thing. So one of the things that we do, and I know we've been doing it for some time, because the skinny jean has been so in for so long and it still is here. Some are saying it's out. I don't think it's out. I think it's a classic. It's going to be here. But for some of us, a super, super skinny, like I'm talking about those like paint on jeans kind of skinny, is actually going to create a look that is going to make your tummy look bigger. So let me give you an example. I'm actually going to pull, these are they're a little bit of a flare. I would actually call them, to me, they're almost like a straight, no, you know what, they're straight leg. That's what I would call them. Okay, so let me just show you. All right, I'm using some of my clips here just to give you, and it is difficult to show you here, but I hope you can see it from here. Look at the difference. If I am wearing a pair of jeans that has got more of a slim leg, more of a straight leg, something that's going to give me a little bit of balance for this tummy area versus something that is super tight and super skinny. What happens with that is that then it tends to just emphasize this. And so one of the things to bear in mind is that the eye goes to the widest point. So although the jeans that you might be wearing might be super fashionable, if you are trying to disguise your tummy, the worst thing you can do is wear something big and baggy on top, because that's going to make you look almost like a lollipop. Okay. The other thing is to wear something shorter and a little bit more fitted, like a peplum, which is great. But if you're wearing it with something that is so skin tight at the bottom, it still could possibly make this look wider. The wonderful thing, though, is this is the wonderful thing, is that with the peplum becomes the widest point. Okay, the peplum then becomes the widest point and it makes everything look narrow in comparison. So I just want to encourage you that whenever you are choosing your tops that you're going to wear that are going to disguise your belly, look at your look as a whole. Don't just look at the belly area. Look at the whole look, because often what happens is that what you're looking at isn't necessarily what everybody else is looking at. They're looking at you as a full length. Okay, now I'm going to show you another way that you can take this look almost to that next level, which I really like. So if you are still finding, let's say your tops are kind of getting you here as well. Now, I know we're not really speaking about that today. We're speaking more about the menopausal belly and perimenopausal belly, by the way, because it also comes at perimenopause. I kind of feel like menopause is an overall arching term that covers all of the different stages. So I'm going to use it as such, right? So what this does is that this gives it a really nice shaping. All right, it gives even more of a cinching into the waist and flare into the peplum. It gives a nice drawing down the eye, down the body here, and that is going to de-emphasize from the tummy. So anything that's going to create that elongated look is going to be fabulous. That's going to make all the difference in the world. Anything elongating is going to draw the eye down as opposed to across. And this is a great way to do it. And again, this is almost like a peplum, right? So it's got that peplum shape. And so you could even wear this peplum vest over this. In fact, I have done that exact thing. And then wearing a slightly kind of slim leg pant. You don't want something super wide because you've got the width here. You want to balance out that volume. You don't want to have volume here and a ton of volume at the bottom, if you know what I mean. So let's just see. Oh yes, I love this. This to me works really wonders. These genes also work to elongate the leg and make the leg look longer, which also, girlfriends, comes into this whole petite story. We always want to elongate our look because that is going to automatically make us look slimmer, automatically. And that's a wonderful thing. So, I mean, I'm 5'3.5". I definitely could use some extra height wherever I can. But I do find, especially on those times when I'm feeling quite like, you know, ugh, like tummy vibes, then for me it makes a huge difference when I elongate my legs. I make my legs look longer, make myself look taller. It just makes a huge difference.